And now we're going to do our first duet, C to C. For all the duets, I will play each part for you, then I will teach each part to you, and then you'll have the opportunity to play each part with the corresponding part. So let's start with C to C. Part 1. First part. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's look at the first part. This is mostly a review of the chords that you had in the 2 previous pages. Whenever you're playing these chords, as soon as you play that one chord, you look to the next one and prepare in your mind how to play that next chord. In other words, if we're playing the first chord, which is a C chord, as soon as I play that, I notice that I can keep my first finger on C and move the other 2 notes to play what is known as the F chord. And back to the original chord. The third chord, all we have to do is play the note F and open strings B and G. And back to, and then. So how I would practice this is just to make sure, first, without a tempo, trying to connect the chords. Now, one of the problems that people have when they're reading duets or music that goes to another line, they forget to look at the next line as quickly as possible so that they're prepared to play in tempo the first note or chord that comes in on the first measure of the second line. So as I'm playing, I am looking and preparing for that next chord on the second line, which is actually the hardest chord that you have so far. So I'm playing this low C chord. So it's 1, 2, I'm looking at the next chord, and then also at the bottom of the page, the last measure of the first part at the bottom of the page, we have, make sure there's no half note or whole note to go to the top of the next page, so make sure you know what's coming next. G, then F, and we're counting 2 beats. 2 beats. Get the notes. Look ahead after the G, then the 2 notes. ahead. Hopefully you looked at the music while you were listening to me playing and also looking at me playing this. Whenever I look at a piece of music, I like to see the form of the music and see what's happening, if there's any repetition of phrases, and for me to hear it and for me to practice it. In this piece, if you notice, the first 8 measures are basically repeated again in the second 8 measures. Just one little difference in the last measure of the first page. And if we look at the last 8 measures, that's the same as the first 8 measures. We can call that form A. And if we look at the first 8 measures on the second page, that is different than what we played in the previous measures. So let's call that B. So what actually it comes out to in 8 measure phrases, A, B, A. So now I'd like you to practice that, and I'll play the second part for you when you're done practicing the first part.